my vlog. Today, I'm going to be talking about episode 8 of season 16 of Deadliest Catch. And tonight is the start of Opilio season. And this episode, a sad one because the crab fishing fleet lost a boat called the FV Scandies Rose. And it sank on December 31st, 2019, little after 10 p.m. And so this episode is going to show a little bit of footage from the Coast Guard searching for the FV Scandies Rose. So it shows the Summer Bay, the Wizard, the Northwestern, and the Lady Alaska. It shows them starting off the episode and them talking about the upcoming season and how crazy the weather will be because they're fishing up by the Russian border because that's where the school of Opilio Crab is, or known as snow crab. They're better known as Opilio Crab. The Summer Bay and the Lady Alaska, which Scott Campbell Jr. owns with his dad, they are going cod fishing, and cod fishing is derby style fishing. So derby style fishing was what crabbing used to be, but in 2005 or 2006 that was ended. During those times what would happen is boats would go out for days and days and they'd just scoop up as much crab as possible, and they'd do this until the quota was done, and boats would be making a lot of money. And this is the same thing with cod fishing. One giant quota for the fleet going cod fishing, and each boat does not have a limit of how much cod they can catch. So it's derby style fishing, and each boat has 72 hours once they start catching their cod to go into port and offload, because if they don't, the cod will spoil. So that leaves the Northwestern and the Wizard to go Opilio fishing. The Northwestern has 480,000 pounds of Opilio crab to catch, and the Wizard has 1.6 million pounds of Opilio crab to catch. It shows the Northwestern leaving port, and they are leaving, and while they're heading out, they get the Mayday, Mayday, Mayday call from the Coast Guard, and pon pon, pon pon, pon pon, which means, pon pon means anyone who's in the vicinity of the boat that's in trouble, they have to respond and go help see if they can rescue the crew or help them get off the boat. That happened, and Sig Hansen and Monty Colburn, they used to work with Gary Coban Jr. of the Scandies Rose, and this is really hitting home hard on them because they worked with him and they were really good friends with him. Then it goes to the Summer Bay, and the Summer Bay, they also, Captain Wild Bill hears about it, and there's not really much information to go. And they're getting ready to go cod fishing. Then it goes to the Northwestern, and the Northwestern is the first crab boat to get out on the Opilio grounds, and Sig decides to set his pots on the flat, which is a little safer, because if they go up north, farther up north on the shelf, then the weather is just worse and the waves are worse. It's just really bad weather, and he wants to try and play it a little more safe. And so they're setting their gear and it's going good. Then it goes to the Wizard, and Monty, he's the loss of his really good friend Gary Coban Jr. He's really sad and he gets really hammered because he's just mourning the loss of his friend, and Monty said that Gary was the only captain I'd really talk to while I'm out at the Bering Sea fishing. That's happening, and the crew's out on deck, and he thinks they're ready to go, and he's just drunk, and he pushes the throttle forward on the Wizard to start going, and none of the lines are untied, so they get him stopped. And then it goes to the Summer Bay, and the Summer Bay, they're setting their gear out on the cod fishing grounds. And then it goes to the Northwestern, and the Northwestern is pulling up their first Opilio pot of 2020. And their first pot they get has 55 Opilio Crab in it, and that is not good. That's good king crab numbers, but not Opilio numbers. For a good pot, you want 200 Opilio Crab, and for a really good pot, it's 400 plus Opilio Crab, which is really good. So the first one's 55 Opilio Crab, then it goes to 16, and then the next one goes to 1. And this string was set out over 60 miles. And Sig decides to pull his gear in and move it to new grounds. Then it goes to the Wizard, and the whole situation settled down. Monty and Gary, he's the first mate, and they call Captain Keith, and Keith, he understands what Monty's going through, and he's like, he tells Gary to go find all the alcohol that Monty has and dump it out, and he tells Monty to just go to bed and sleep off, get sober, and call him in the morning and start their OP season. Then it goes to the Lady Alaska, and the Lady Alaska is Scott Campbell Jr.'s new crab fishing boat, and this boat is 138 feet long. This is the first time in about 15 years the Lady Alaska was on Deadliest Catch, and it's not been on for 15 seasons, and now it's back on. The Seabrook will not be on TV because Scott Campbell Jr. will be running the Lady Alaska, and the Lady Alaska is going cod fishing. Then it goes to the Northwestern, and the Northwestern is setting their gear on the shelf and going good. Then it goes to the Wizard, and it shows the Wizard out setting their gear. And then it goes to the Lady Alaska, and while they're out on the cod fishing grounds, Scott gets an alarm that something is going on in the engine room, and he goes to one spot and he notices there's a crack in the steel, and it's letting in about 20 gallons of water a minute. So that is really not good. So they have to cut some wood shims and some kind of epoxy to stop the water from rushing in, and they do that, and they get going setting pots. Then it goes to the Summer Bay, and Wild Bill getting his gear, and he's getting 20 plus cod in each pot, and he's not told the crew about the Scandies Rose, and some of the crew has actually worked on the Scandies Rose, and one of the crew members was actually thinking about quitting working on the Summer Bay to go work on the Scandies Rose, and Wild Bill has not told him because he's waiting to find out more information. Then it goes to the Northwestern. They've set their gear and they're pulling in their pots, and their first pot that's in the drop-off area, they get 350 Opilio Crab. The next one they get 400, and then the next one they get 450 Opilio Crab in a pot, and that is really good numbers. That is really good fishing. Then it goes to the Lady Alaska, and they're setting their gear on the cod grounds, and then it goes to the Wizard, and the Wizard is out setting their gear, and then it goes to the Summer Bay, and Wild Bill hears that 2 members of the Scandies Rose crew have been rescued, and the Coast Guard is still looking for the 5 remaining crew members of the Scandies Rose. And Wild Bill, he calls them and he's like, I need to talk to you guys about something. He gets the crew into the crew area, and he tells them that the Scandies Rose went missing and that 2 crew members have been rescued and the search is still going on for the 5 remaining crew. Then it goes to the Lady Alaska, and the Lady Alaska is pulling in their first cod pot, and all of a sudden their coiler, it stops working. Scott's like, why don't you guys hand coil the remaining line so we can get this pot in and then we can try and fix the coiler. So there's the block which pulls the pots up, and then the coiler, that's where the line that holds the pot to the buoys is pulled up and it's coiled in the coiler. So that's pretty necessary to get the pots in fast and make it easier on the crew. So they have to get that fixed and get that going. Then it goes to the Northwestern, and the Northwestern is doing really good on the Opilio grounds. Then it goes to the Wizard, and the Wizard is, they're going through their gear and they're getting 350 plus Opilio Crab, and that's really good. Then it goes to the Summer Bay, and the Summer Bay is doing really good on the cod grounds. And while they're pulling in the gear, something happens where one of the crew members is pulling some of the rope onto the deck, and somehow in the process Nick gets wrapped up in the line of the pot, and the pot starts heading down, and the crew rush in to save him, and it's all good, but Nick almost got pulled over the rail and sent into the deep depths of the Bering Sea. Then it goes to the Wizard, and they're doing really good, and then it goes to the Northwestern, and the Northwestern they're on good fishing. They've all found out that 2 members of the Scandies Rose crew had been found, and 5 are still missing. Then it goes to the Summer Bay, and the Summer Bay, they're doing good on the cod grounds. Then it goes to the Wizard, and they're doing really good as well. Then it goes to the Northwestern, and they're still on good grounds. Then it goes to the Lady Alaska, and while the Lady Alaska, they're getting ready to move a pot with the crane, and the actuator on the crane, it gets stuck and it starts pushing into the pot and crushing it, and each one of these pots is 800 pounds, and each pot costs $1,000. So this $1,000 pot is destroyed. Then it shows the Coast Guard flying around in their Jayhawk, and it also shows a cutter and C-130 Hercules, and it's been a couple days after the Scandies Rose went down, and they call off the search, and the Wizard and the Northwestern and the Summer Bay and the Lady Alaska all find out the search has been called off, have a funeral at sea, and the Summer Bay, they have a wreath of flowers, and each crew member puts a rose for each of the crew members on the Scandies Rose. And the Wizard, Monty has all the crew up in front of the wheelhouse, and they have a bell, and Monty's reading something and reading names, and he rings the bell that they have on the Wizard, and it just shows the other crews together and mourning the loss of their friends and colleagues that are on the Bering Sea. And Sig Hansen told a cool story of Gary Coban Jr. Sig said that in the 1980s he was going out to fish for bear dye, and he didn't know where to go. So he was talking with Gary Coban Jr. And Gary was like, come on, follow me. And Gary said the way to get the most bear dye in your pots is to have them soak for a long time in sig. He didn't like that. He was gung-ho and wanted to haul as much gear as possible to get as much crab, but Gary was like, no, let it soak for a while and you'll get your numbers. So that is the end of episode 8 of season 16 of Deadliest Catch. And this episode was a sad episode. Talked about the sinking of the Scandies Rose. And all the Deadliest Catch fans out there have the families and friends and the fleet in their thoughts and prayers, and especially the 5 crew members' families and friends who lost their lives. And we also have the 2 crew members who made it in our thoughts and prayers. And all the fans of Deadliest Catch would like to say, gone but not forgoten. Thank you guys for watching, and if you ain't dreaming, you ain't living. Don't forget to dream big.